So now I want to find sector area and arc length. So these have to do with pieces of a circle. So a good example is a piece of pie. I do want, or a piece of pizza pie. I want to go back real quick on that previous problem where we left off. Be sure and go back to the one that says you try and figure this question out. So don't forget about that. All right, so sector area, that is like a slice of pizza. It's the whole area of this slice. Arc length is the distance across where the crust is. So it's wanting to know how far is it from here all the way to here. Okay, so each one of those are a piece of the original pizza. Sector is a piece of the original area. So to find the sector area of a piece of pizza, you would need to take M, which is represented by your degree of your central angle. You would say 62 over 360, and then multiply that by pi 3.75 squared, and that would give you your sector area. It's finding a piece of the original. So that's just type it in and pay attention to your directions, whether they want the answers in terms of pi or an actual decimal answer. For arc length, same thing. Arc length is a piece of the circumference. So notice how we're using 2 pi r instead of pi r squared. So take 62, put it in place of the m, 62 divided by 360 times 2 pi 3.75. And that would give you your arc length, the distance from here to here in inches. So I have both sector area and arc length set up. Again, 62 divided by 360 times pi r squared. That's your area formula. And arc length would be 62 divided by 360 times 2 pi radius again. And that would give you your arc length. If I type those into the calculator, I've got them typed in. Notice how I left off the pi. I'm not typing that in quite yet because if the question wanted me to leave it in terms of pi, my answer for the area side would be, let me find it, 2.42, depending on what we're rounding to, 2.42, looking right here, pi. And if I were leaving the arc length side in terms of pi, I would just take this and say my answer is 1.29 pi. But then, of course, I can go in and multiply by pi. I can go up and hit that, put a pi on it, hit enter, and then leave the decimal answer if I needed to do that. Be sure and copy this information. It's in your notes. It's on the blog spot. Copy it into your notes. Make sure you understand what area of a sector is. It's a slice of pizza, and the formula is this. Arc length is like the crust. Here is your formula. And then you will need to do this page. So let me get you started. It just depends on the question. If they're just wanting area, pay attention. Just wanting area of the circle again, or circumference, pay attention to what they're asking for. Also pay attention, do they want me to leave it in terms of pi? So this one wants the answer in terms of pi, and it wants area and circumference. Work your way down. Let's go down here to number 13. So it says leave in terms of pi. They want sector area and arc length. So sector area is where you do m over 360. So I would need to do 32 divided by 360. And I'm multiplying by my area. So pi 11 squared. So in the calculator, type 32 over 360 times 11 squared. Don't type the pi in, and whatever that answer is, put the pi on it, and that's what will go in this blank. For the arc length, you'll do 32 over 360 times 2 pi 11. Again, don't type the pi in. So type in 32 over 360 times 2 times 11. Leave the pi alone, okay? And whatever that decimal is, put it here, stick the pi on the answer. And I wanted to show you the answers. So after you type those in, you should get 484 over 45 pi. And then if you wanted to simplify this part, you could write it as 10.8 pi. But notice I did not write it in total decimal form. The pi is still there, so that's called leaving it in terms of pi. And then the arc length should have been 88 divided by 45 or over 45 pi. If you wanted to make this part a decimal, it would be 1.96 pi. But notice I have not multiplied the pi in yet. So this is called leaving it in terms of pi. So finish up that worksheet and make sure all your answers are there. If you do not finish, you need to finish at home. So make sure it gets done.